past week, or gleeful laughter has spilled from your smiling mouth.
You are beloved, and you are welcome here.
Whether you are feeling brave or brokenhearted, defiant or defeated, fearsome or fearful.
You are beloved, and you are welcome here.
Whether you have untold stories buried deep inside, or stories that have been forced beyond the edges of comfort.
You are beloved, and you are welcome here.
Whether you have made promises, broken promises, or are renewing your promises.
You are beloved, and you are welcome here.
Whatever is on your heart, whatever is in your soul in this moment.
You are beloved, and you are welcome here.
In this space of welcome and acceptance, commitment and recommitment, of covenant and connection, let us worship together.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's lovely to see you all here on this beautiful spring morning. Newcomers, longtime members, those returning, those watching online, mothers, and caregivers of all kinds. May we gather today and this season to nurture our connection, seek inspiration, and embrace change with verve and creativity. Creativity is the theme for this month, and I wish you all opportunities to be creative in your lives, whatever form that may take. If you are joining us for the first time, please visit our welcome table in the parlor after the service, or you can fill out a yellow card from the pew cards in the back of each pew. You can place that in the offertory plate as those are passed around during our offertory. After the service, you are invited to join us in the parlor right through these doors for coffee and conversation. If you prefer a quiet space, you can also stay here in the sanctuary to chat. Please take a moment to look at the announcements in your order of service. And with that, before we light our chalice, we'll take a couple moments to greet one another. Please join me in saying the chalice lighting words, which are printed in your order of service. We light this chalice for the warmth of love, the light of truth, and the energy of action.
I invite my friends that I've spoken with to come up and grab a basket for our Side with Love collection. Silas, do you see the baskets right over there? Yeah, right there. Come on up, friends, and I invite everyone else to rise and join me in singing our opening hymn, Comfort Me, number 1002 in your teal hymnal. You got it. Good morning, friends. It is so lovely to be here with you this morning. I'd like to invite anyone who would like to come up to the front and sit on the steps and join me to do so now. The first thing that we're going to do this morning is I have a flower for our tree, and I have our very first owl. So the flower is, if you weren't here last week, Madeline and I created this tree. This is our Share Your Wisdom tree to help us to find volunteers for our religious exploration program for the fall. So Beth Mudge has volunteered to be on the RE team, and so she is helping to grow our team, and she gets a flower at the bottom, if we can give a little love for Beth. Yeah. And Madonna has the honor of having our very first owl. Now, there are 3 ways that you, too, can get an owl on our tree. You can volunteer to be a classroom teacher, which is just half of the year, the fall or the spring, 8 to 9 total Sundays. It's twice a month. You can lead a creative Sunday once for the whole year, or you can be a substitute, which is what Madonna is doing, to help to fill in when someone can't be here. So that owl is going to fly up above our tree, ready to land at any moment where it is needed. So also a huge thank you to Madonna. So we are still in need of many owls and flowers for our tree. If you have questions about what that would look like, you can come and ask me. There are fact sheets out in the parlor, and if you find some little owls around, you may find that they have a QR code on the back. And that's going to take you right to a link discussing what it would be like to volunteer for the RE program. All right, friends, so who would like to open the Wonder Box today? Gwen, you want to open up the Wonder Box and see what's in it? I think there should be 3 things in there. Do you want to pull them out? We've got 3 friends up here today. How perfect. What did you find? A book?
And some stickers.
Those are little Band-Aids. And a wand. All right. I wonder what these could be for today. Oh, but to begin with, do you know what special day today is? Yeah, it's Mother's Day. And happy Mother's Day. So there are lots of ways that mamas and those who are caregivers care for us. Friends, can you think of some ways that the caregivers in your life care for you? Go ahead, Gwen.
Well, when I get hurt, I get a Band-Aid.
Yeah, when you're hurt, someone is there to care for you. Go ahead, Allie. Cooks, yeah, our caregivers cook for us. They nourish us. Go ahead, Silas.
My mom eats.
Your mom eats with you. You eat meals together. Yeah, there are lots of ways that we care for one another. So I'm going to share with you a short story this morning. It's by Christopher Buse. And it's about some of the ways that we care for one another. So once upon a time, there was a young girl named Maggie. And she found out that she had a terrible disease. And she would probably never be well again. And she was really, really sad. Because even though she had lots and lots of friends, since she had found out that she had this disease, no one had come to visit her because they were afraid that they would get sick too. So the little girl Maggie, she sat all by herself in her room, and she was very, very lonely. So one day she heard a knock on her door. "Come in," she said, and in walked 3 of her friends. One was a doctor, one was a minister, and one was a magician. Maggie was really glad to see them because no one had visited her and no one had been brave enough to come in and see her. So her friends came in and they said, "Hello, Maggie. We came to tell you something. Each one of us is going to try to find a cure for your disease." "Yes," said the doctor. "I'm going to go to my laboratory and I'm going to do experiments until I discover a medicine that will cure your disease." "And I," said the minister, "I'm going to go home and pray every day and every night until you are healed of this disease." "And I," said the magician, "am going to look through my books of magic until I discover a potion or a spell that will rid you of your disease." Maggie smiled, and she was happy because she could tell that her friends cared so much for her. "Thank you," she said. "We're sorry we can't stay long," the three friends said, "but we have to rush off to find this cure. We'll return in 3 days, and surely by then, one of us will have found a way to cure your disease." And so Maggie's friends went away to search for a cure, and Maggie was once again left alone. For 3 days, her friends did everything that they could to try to find a cure for this sickness. The doctor worked hard in the laboratory, but couldn't discover any medicine that could help the little girl. The minister prayed every day and every night that Maggie would be healed, but she was still sick. And the magician looked through all the magic books, but there were no potions or spells that could cure Maggie's disease. All three of Maggie's friends were really sad because they felt that they had failed. After the 3 days were over, the doctor, the magician, and the minister returned to Maggie's house, and they told her the bad news. "We're sorry," they said, "but we couldn't find a cure. We did our best." And then the three friends began to cry. "Don't cry," Maggie said. "Before I was sick, I had many friends, but now they're all afraid to visit me. The disease that I have is a terrible one, but it's nothing compared to the loneliness that I've felt these last few days. And I know now that loneliness is the worst disease of all. Right now, the medicine that I need the most is your friendship. The prayer that I need the most is simply for you to be with me. And the magic I need the most is your love." And so the doctor and the minister and the magician all gathered around the little girl and laid their hands on her. And in the silence that followed, it said that they found the cure. So friends, what was the cure that Maggie needed? What did she need? Love. That's right, she needed love. And while we know that love alone can't really cure illness, right? It can cure loneliness. And the center of our faith, the most important thing that we can offer to one another, the way we can care for one another, is through love, today and every day. All right, thank you, friends. I'm going to invite everyone here to sing our young people out with the children's blessing in the back of your hymnal. And if there are any parents or caregivers who have not signed, you can, your children, you can meet Madeline in the parlor.
May your mind be open to new learning. May your lips bring truth into the world. May your heart know love and your hands do the work of justice as you go your way in peace. As you go your way in peace.
Hello. There we go. It's even the right volume. Happy Mother's Day. Everyone in here has had one, and many of you are them. In a spirit of reverence, love, and care, we take time now to bear witness to some of the joys, sorrows, and appreciations of our community. We want to share those events that call for our prayers and support, our praise and celebration. I just have one joy today, and it bursts my heart. This is from Wendy and David Solomon. Many in this community have sent love and healing wishes to their son Benjamin over the past 6 years as he faces his ongoing cancer battle. It's with amazing pride in our son's resilience that we share that he's graduating this weekend from the University of Wisconsin, as he has throughout it all. He continues to look ahead to whatever's next with optimism. There was a lot of support that's gone through this. For those we may be holding in our thoughts, in our hearts, and perhaps in our prayers, let us call these names out loud into this community and space of healing and hope right now. Linda, Andrea, we extend loving kindness to all in our world and let us not forget to extend loving kindness to ourselves. Today, tomorrow, and beyond, let our hearts be outstretched in kindness, and let us keep showing up to our lives and to each other with an open heart, no matter what. Love and courage to us all. Blessed be. Amen.
I invite you to join me in the spirit of prayer and meditation. Find a comfortable place in your body. Breathe as deeply as you are able. Hold in your mind the image of all things, all beings, coming from the same tree, roots stretched in limitless tangles of connection and sustenance, interconnected and interlaced in a web of living and dying that is so beautifully designed and most times invisible. Join me in breathing. Breathing in for our lives touched by ancestors known and unknown. Breathing out for living lives that will touch our descendants. Breathing in for folks held in loving arms as they were raised up. Breathing out for folks who had to make their own way too early in their lives. Breathing in for beloveds who we hold close in our hearts every day. Breathing out for beloveds who we sometimes have trouble reaching out to. Breathing in for loving. Breathing out for losing. Breathing in for parents who are doing the best that they can. And breathing out for the impossible decisions they've had to make. Breathing in for those living with addictions, mental illness, and grief. Breathing out for those living with and caring for folks living with addiction, mental illness, and grief. Breathing in for caregivers of all kinds who give of themselves to make other people's lives better and more whole. Breathing out to honor this holy work. Let us take a moment of silence together.
Each week, we take an offering to sustain the important ministries and programs of this congregation and its presence in Ithaca. Giving to the plate is important. It's a symbol of our gratitude for this service and our ongoing commitment to support the work of this church. For those watching remotely, instructions for giving using your phone or computer will appear on your screen during the offertory music. For those attending in person, our ushers will now pass the plate. Please join me in saying the offertory words printed in your order of service. May these gifts bring about connection, inspiration, and engagement within these walls and beyond.
In religious community, we share our joys and our triumphs, our sorrows and our broken places. In this circle of care, we make space for the complexity of life, the myriad experiences that bless and break our hearts. The truth of human experience dictates that on any given day, we each come to the table with hearts in different places. It is especially so on this day invented to honor women who nurture. In this circle of care, we honor the truth that mothering is not and never will be quantified in one single descriptor. Mothering can be elusive or infuriating, fulfilling or confusing, commonplace or triumphant. It exists in the everyday experiences of each person. There is no human being that is not connected to or disconnected from a mother. And so we honor the complexity of experience, writ large in flowered platitudes. But here is this space, laid bare, honoring the truth of each of our hearts. There is room for all in this circle. If you have carried a child or children, whether or not they came to be born, we see you. If you fervently wished to do so and circumstances of fate made it impossible, we see you. If you love children we cannot see, whether because of death or estrangement, we see you. If you never wanted to be a mother, we see you. If you are happy to mother other people's children as an educator, an auntie, or a foster parent, we see you. If your mother hurt you physically or emotionally, we see you. If you had no mother at all, we see you. If your mother is or was your best friend, we see you too. If your gender says you are not a mother, and yet you take on the role of nurturer, we see you. If you wonder whether your mothering has been enough, we see you. And if yours is a different truth altogether, we honor your unspoken story. There is room for all in this circle. May it be so, today and always.
Nothing truly prepares you for becoming a parent. In a similar way, nothing prepares you for becoming a caregiver of any kind, whether it's caring for an aging parent or relative, or for a sick partner or friend. And when I say that nothing prepares you, I'm not talking about the late nights and the diaper changes, or even the gentle cleansing of bodies too fragile to do it on their own. Although, in many ways, I was unprepared for that reality as well. It's the other parts that you're not prepared for. The way that your emotions seem to spill from your eyes, at times unexpected and unintentional. The way that your love expands to an almost physical ache. The way that fear takes up residence in your heart and won't let go. Before I had my first child, I had everything planned out. Where she would sleep, how she would eat, what she would wear, what I would do to fill the blissfully quiet times when she was napping. Yeah, I actually thought that that was going to happen. What my career path would be. And then she arrived, and it turned out that right from the very beginning, she had some very different ideas than mine. Sleeping being the most immediate and prominent difference between what my idea was of how this should go and hers. We had purchased a co-sleeper and attached it firmly to the side of our bed. Maybe you're familiar with them. They're similar to a crib, only slightly smaller, and they're meant to allow you to keep your baby in the bedroom with you so you can have easy access to them in the middle of the night. That first night at home, I must have laid her down in that co-sleeper 100 times. I would pick her up, I would rock her, sing to her, nurse her, sometimes lie her right next to me to get her to fall asleep. But the moment that I attempted to place her small sleeping body into that co-sleeper, as soon as she touched it, she would wake up and cry. It got to the point where she was so tired, so was I, that she would fall asleep upright in my hands as soon as I picked her up. I wasn't prepared for how much she needed to be close to me. for her tiny form to be touching mine at all times. I also wasn't prepared for how much I needed that, too. She never slept in the co-sleeper, not once. It quickly became a convenient place to put clothing and diapers and wipes. No, she slept exactly where she wanted to be, which was pressed up against the warmth of my body. I slept lightly those first few months, waking at every movement or lack thereof, terrified that she was going to stop breathing. Because nothing prepares you for a love so overwhelming that it comes with this constant fear. So my children have grown and become less fragile. That fear has moved from the front of my mind to the back, but it's still there. It's easy for those parts of yourself that existed before to be subsumed by this role, by becoming a parent or a caregiver of any kind. When you're giving all of yourself to take care of someone else, when you're putting their needs first, your needs can get swallowed up. Sometimes my children will ask me which one I love the most. And I always answer that I love them both in different ways, because they're different people, but nothing that is greater or lesser. I tell them that love doesn't have a limit. You can't run out of love. Love is infinite. And it's a lesson that I need to remind myself of, that I have enough love, because the one who often needs my love the most is me. Being a caregiver, I'm so often pouring myself out to give to others, turning my light to shine outward instead of inward, giving of myself in all the ways that I am able. And creating care for ourselves is something that we all need, to both be able to love ourselves more and to accept the love from those around us. And for those of us who are caregivers, which is really all of us, both of these things can be challenging. It can be hard to take care of ourselves without feeling guilty that doing so is somehow neglecting the needs of others. But it can also be challenging to let in the love that we're being offered, of believing that we're worthy of that love and care. Because we know intimately every mistake we have ever made, every harsh word, every unkind thought, every action that we've taken with negative consequences, intentional or not. And we need to find a way to love these parts of ourselves as well. Reverend Kate Landis shares that the Dalai Lama says that when we make a mistake, we need to ask, can I love this too? Can I love all of me? Even the peevish parts, the insecure bits, the anxious bits? Because I love my niece, even when she sticks her hand in my cup of coffee and gets mad and hollers at me about it. It's easy. I don't expect her to be perfect. Can I extend that understanding to myself? Can I love my anxiety too? My depression too? My desire to seem like I have my shit together even when I'm freaking out? Can I love all of me? Because we accept the love that we think we deserve. What do you think you deserve? Our Universalist heritage comes from a belief in universal love, and that includes loving ourselves In fact, it starts with loving ourselves and believing that we too are worthy of love, just the way we are. That we don't have to be the smartest, the best, the most competent person in the room to be deserving of love. This interconnected global world that we live in is filled with images and messages about what our life should be. About the perfect relationships filled with flowers and grand gestures and Instagram-worthy pictures. About professional successes, about promotions and awards won. About perfect parents with spotless houses and clean, smiling children and an endless supply of patience. And none of that is real. It's not real in my life, and I imagine that it's not real in any of yours. But what is real is the pressure that it puts on us to live up to these impossible standards. A standard that no one can meet, and that whispers its insidious lies that we are not good enough. Macrina Widecker tells us, "I will believe the truth about myself no matter how beautiful it is." No matter how beautiful it is. Because the truth is that you are deserving of love and care. And the universal love that we offer as you use, that love that is the center of our faith, that love is for you. I came across this poem recently by Reverend Teresa Soto that I want to share with you. She says, "I need you to know that there's nothing wrong with you if you find the world congealed and unwieldy. You were never meant to serve money, to give loyalty to unprincipled power, to spend your joy frantically soothing yourself in order to tend wounds of being constantly dehumanized. I need you to know that your sense of injury and anger is not overdeveloped. You are meant for love and beauty. You belong where you are known and where your future is not just a resource, but a promise, which you begin to fulfill by being unmistakably, irrevocably yourself. You are not wrong." We can't take care of ourselves, or we can't take care of others if we're not taking care of ourselves. We can't fully see the light in others if we don't allow our own to shine, and we can't do it alone. To be able to create care, we need a community to support us. No one exists in isolation. One of the aspects of this faith that sets us apart is that we are covenantal, not creedal. And what that means is that we center our relationships with one another as the heart of this faith and this community. Reverend Gretchen Haley tells us that what our faith asks of us, what our faith imagines for us, is that somehow, right at that moment when our hearts break, we will find a way through that heartbreak. We'll stay put, not close off, not run away, not hurt back, but keep on being in relationship, doing what we can to repair the world and one another. We are all caregivers for one another. We are caregivers for this community. And much like being the caregiver to a child or an elder or a sick loved one, it takes time and effort and energy. It takes showing up. It takes helping out. It takes love. But it also gives in return. It gives connection and community. It gives comfort. It gives fulfillment. We can only create the care and love and the community that we want, that we all need, if we're willing to take the time to build it, if we are all caretakers for one another, if we are the caretakers of our hearts. Because, as T.O. Walker says, in the heart of every caregiver is a knowing that we are all connected. As I do for you, I do for me. And you are deserving of care. You're deserving of love. I hope that you choose to share your love with this community, because we want to share our love with you. I invite you to rise in body or spirit for our closing hymn, number 253 in your teal hymnal.
That was number 1053 in the teal hymnal. You said 10, yeah, 1053. Okay, I heard 253.
How could anyone ever tell you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul.
We don't always say, I love you. Sometimes we say, you're not eating very well, or should you really be going out in this weather? We don't always say, you're amazing. Sometimes we say, I wish you would believe in yourself more. We don't always say, I love you. Sometimes we open our mouths and our hearts, which are actually full of love, and we pour out critically, nagging, berating, moaning, smothering. And we can work on that. Sometimes love doesn't sound like, I love you. Sometimes it sounds like, eat your vegetables. Be home by 9. Don't work so hard. Listen for the love in everything you hear today. It doesn't always sound like it should, but it's there. It's there.
so wonderful to have our guest musicians back. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Our service has ended. Let our true service now begin.